Luna set out on a self-discovery quest and learned how to use her newly discovered powers from the moon with Orion's resolute support and direction. Together, they explored the limits of her potential and discovered how her relationship with the moon may improve the lives of mermaids. Orion, who has always been a kind and understanding friend, assisted Luna in navigating the complex subtleties of her abilities. He was aware of her enormous potential and had faith that she would use her talents to improve their people. In an effort to discover the full scope of Luna's potential and how to harness it to effect the change they had imagined, they set off on a journey filled with hardships. Luna and Orion would travel to remote locations under the moonlight, far from prying eyes, where they could freely explore and experiment with her skills. Luna's connection to the moon deepened with each night, as did her comprehension of its energies and rhythms. She discovered how to access the essence of the moon, gaining knowledge from it and using its might. Luna and Orion found that Luna's skills went beyond what she had initially thought. She had the ability to control the ocean's currents, bringing serenity to choppy waters and directing wayward souls toward safety. Her touch was capable of curing even the most severe wounds, including broken fins and merfolk ailments. Those near Luna experienced a sense of peace and tranquility from her presence, as though the moon had bestowed upon them a soothing touch. As Luna developed her abilities, she became aware that the mermaid community would undergo significant upheaval. They came up with a strategy to harness her abilities to promote harmony and understanding among the clans under Orion's direction. Luna's touch would become a ray of hope for harmony and healing, mending the divisions that had afflicted their community for far too long. They started by contacting prominent members of the mermaid communities, extending an invitation to Luna for help, and showcasing the transformational potential of her skills. Luna was able to repair the deep emotional and physical scars that merfolk with ancient conflicts had carried with them. The hope that had lain dormant in many people's hearts began to awaken as word of her healing ability spread. The unifying power of Luna's touch overcame the divisions caused by clan conflicts. Merfolk who had previously been split apart by hatred and discrimination now came to her for healing, realizing that despite their differences, they were all a part of the same oceanic fabric. Luna made the mermaids and mermen aware of their shared history and the value of accepting their similarities by her deeds of kindness. But Luna was more than just a healer. She discovered how to focus her energy on building defenses to keep their people safe under Orion's direction. She had the power to call forth the light of the moon to reveal dangerous obstructions and steer ships over choppy waters. Luna turned into a guardian, utilizing her abilities to protect the sea and all of its creatures. It wasn't in vain that Luna and Orion persisted in inspiring change. Leaders of the two clans started to see the possibility of harmony and unification that Luna's abilities offered. They acknowledged that separation was no longer necessary and put aside their long-standing grievances and biases. A new era of understanding had been sparked by Luna and Orion's unshakable love and dedication. Luna and Orion united to become the catalyst for a drive toward unification. Their path was not without difficulties. Some people adhered to the well-known patterns of division and rejected change. However, Luna's abilities and Orion's unwavering support functioned as a ray of hope, pointing the mermaid world in the direction of a future in which compassion and collaboration were the norm. Luna's impact increased along with her skill set. As a leader who personified the transformational power of love and the blessing of the moon, she gained respect from the merpeople. Her acts set off a chain reaction that spread throughout the mermaid communities, encouraging others to embrace their own potential for positive change. For both Luna and the mermaid community as large, that was a turning point in history. Luna completely accepted her abilities and used them to mend wounds, safeguard the ocean, and promote harmony under Orion's backing and direction. Her experience became a living example of the significant influence that inner strength, love, and understanding can have on creating a better future, leading their people toward a world where the moon's blessing and the power of love could turn the mermaid world into a peaceful and caring civilization. Luna and Orion were at the vanguard of a revolution. Their steadfast devotion to their cause and their unshakable loyalty to each other drove them ahead, paving the way for a time when the moon's benediction would illumine a route toward harmony and understanding. Due to her strong bond with the moon, Luna developed abilities that inspired and gave hope to both Orion's clan and her own. As news of Luna's remarkable talent spread, the two mermaid communities started to see her as a symbol of hope and solidarity. The The clan who had doubted Luna's abilities now saw directly what an incredible force she was capable of. They witnessed her restore peace to their tumultuous waters, heal the injured, and tame the stormy waves. Luna's abilities made her clan proud, and they gathered together to support her since they realized how much potential she had. Luna's powers inspired amazement and wonder among Orion's clan. The merpeople were in awe of her skills and perceived in her a power that overcame the differences that had long afflicted their community. They saw her touch heal shattered fins, ease deep-seated suffering, and comfort troubled hearts. With her abilities, Luna sparked a strong yearning for harmony and understanding among Orion's clan, and they looked to her as a change agent. The rumors of Luna's healing powers and her capacity to unite people quickly spread, catching on with the mermaid societies as well as the nearby aquatic and terrestrial species. People from all walks of life were moved by Luna's abilities and saw a ray of hope for a society devoid of prejudice and conflict in her. Luna had an impact that went beyond her own tribe. Eager to receive her knowledge and the guidance of the moon, leaders from both communities came to her for advice. They realized that she had the ability to bring their clans together in a way that had never been possible before and to heal wounds that had festered for generations. Luna and Orion put in a great deal of effort to promote harmony and understanding with the help of both tribes. In order to dissolve the boundaries that had long divided them, they planned get-togethers and activities for merfolk from both communities. Luna's abilities acted as a concrete reminder of their people's common history and unity, sparking discussions and creating new relationships. Luna's responsibilities rose along with her influence. She developed into a symbol of hope for the future in addition to being a healer and a uniting force. The merpeople eagerly anticipated her arrival, believing that her abilities and her unshakable love for Orion would open the door to a new era of harmony and peace. Luna's abilities served as a spur for transformation, inspiring a shared yearning for harmony between the two clans. As the mermaid communities realized that the distinctions that had once characterized them were arbitrary and unneeded, they started to reconsider their long-held prejudices and biases. They recognized in Luna's abilities the capacity to establish a society ruled by compassion, acceptance, and understanding. Even in the face of difficulties, Luna and Orion never wavered in their goal. They skillfully guided their people toward a future based on collaboration and respect for one another while navigating the complications of clan politics. Their love was an inspiration to others, showing that amazing changes can happen when differences are accepted and hearts are open. That marked a sea change in Luna's path. Once misinterpreted, her abilities inspired and gave her clan, as well as Orion's clan, hope. The merpeople revered her because they saw in her the promise of a better future and the personification of the moon's grace. Luna and Orion were standing next to each other, sharing a common vision of a world ruled by love and compassion. With every healing and compassionate deed, they erased the boundaries that had formerly separated their tribes and drew them closer together. Luna's abilities, bestowed by the moon, served as a trigger for a significant metamorphosis. Her ability to communicate with the moon was seen as a gift by the mermaid communities, who realized that it held the key to a future of peace and harmony. Luna's impact grew far beyond the boundaries of her own tribe as she carried on using her abilities to inspire and heal. She came to represent hope and serve as an example to everyone who yearned for a society in which love triumphed over all obstacles and differences were celebrated. That demonstrated the capacity for transformation that Luna possessed. She became a symbol of hope because of her bond with the moon, encouraging both her clan and Orion's clan to put their differences aside and look forward to a future ruled by kindness and understanding. While the stars aligned perfectly, Luna and Orion realized how dangerous the approaching eclipse would be for their shaky relationship. The prospect of disastrous battle between two competing mermaid clans now appeared to eclipse the once promising road toward peace. Luna and Orion delved themselves in folklore from antiquity and sought advice from sagacious marine creatures who had personally experienced the tides of history in their quest for answers. Through their research, they discovered a long-lost prophecy that described the eclipse as a sign of impending conflict and devastation, a celestial occurrence that had the power to rekindle enmity and division. Luna and Orion recognized the seriousness of the situation facing their clans and felt sorrow for them. If the eclipse continued unchecked, it may undo all of their attempts to cross the split and cause chaos in their undersea realm. They were aware that quick action was required to prevent catastrophe and maintain the brittle peace they had worked so hard to establish. Luna and Orion gathered their clans and explained how serious the situation was. They depicted in graphic detail the disastrous outcomes that would await their undersea society should they permit the eclipse to incite a military conflict. They pushed their fellow merfolk to think about the price of continuing the cycle of violence, reminding them of the shared sorrow and suffering that had afflicted their clans for many centuries. Luna and Orion came up with a strategy to take on the menace head-on together. To give both clans time to consider the serious ramifications of their conduct, they suggested a temporary truce, or a halt to all hostilities during the eclipse. They underlined the significance of communication, empathy, and compromise as the only workable solutions. Many merfolk were moved by Luna and Orion's unwavering belief, even in the face of residual hostility and doubt among both clans. For the sake of their shared future, they realized it was pointless to continue the vicious cycle of hatred and that they had to put aside their differences immediately. Tensions were high and the undersea realm was buzzing with anxiety as the eclipse day approached. Normally at odds, the mermaid clans came together as a group to express their fear of what the celestial event would bring. The eclipse's approaching darkness acted as a warning of the shadows that would engulf their world. Luna and Orion were like rays of hope and rationality in the midst of this common terror. They promoted frank communication and arranged gatherings between representatives of the two clans, creating a setting where complaints could be voiced and miscommunications could be cleared out. A deep silence fell over the merpeople as the eclipse eventually covered the underwater world. The mermaid clans were left in an unsettling twilight as the planet appeared to hold its breath due to the momentary obscuration of the sun's brightness. It was in this gloomy moment that something changed. Seeing the fleeting loss of light, the merpeople had a profound sense of vulnerability and understood the actual cost of their hatred. They knew that the eclipse had the potential to either further their differences or act as a catalyst for change because they saw their common fate reflected in the cosmic event. When the sun came out of the shade and threw its beautiful radiance back over the watery world, a feeling of unity spread. Having felt the weight of impending doom, the mermaid clans pledged to follow the route of peacemaking. They realized that cooperating and putting aside their differences was the only way to guarantee the survival and prosperity of their undersea kingdom. That was a turning point in the journey for Orion and Luna. Their tribes were shaken to their core when they realized how dangerous the eclipse was, and they were forced to face the repercussions of their deeds. Luna and Orion set their undersea realm on a new road, aiming to replace division and conflict with understanding and unity and understanding through firm leadership and recognition of the common threat. An approaching solar eclipse was going to upset the calm seas that had come to represent the shaky peace between the opposing mermaid tribes. An evil threat hovered over the undersea realm as the stars lined up to cast a shadow on the sun. Territorial disagreements and long-standing animosity had split the mermaid clans. But recently, Luna and Orion had succeeded in mending the division and promoting a feeling of solidarity among the clans. However, the impending eclipse held the capacity to undo all of their hard work and send them reeling back into hostilities. Aware of how serious things were, Luna and Orion went into their own worlds to ask for advice. They studied old books, sought advice from the sage marine creatures, and paid close attention to the ocean's murmurs. After doing some investigation, they learned that the eclipse was very important to their clans because it represented a coming together of cosmic powers that might either portend tragedy or present a chance for peace. They discovered that the eclipse was thought to be a cosmic mirror reflecting the mermaid world's current situation. The eclipse may bring chaos and destruction to the merfolk's undersea dominion if they allowed their long-standing animosities to take precedence over logic. But if the clans could put aside their disagreements, the eclipse might serve as a catalyst for change and enduring harmony. Equipped with this fresh understanding, Luna and Orion set out on a quest to prevent catastrophe. They gathered their clans, telling them to put aside their resentment and admit how vulnerable their position was. Reminding her fellow merfolk of their accomplishments, their relationships, and their shared destiny, Luna spoke from the bottom of her heart. Luna and Orion worked together to create a strategy that would unite the clans in the face of the approaching eclipse. They planned an event in the center of their maritime domain, a peaceful, neutral location where both clans could find comfort and understanding. Luna spoke to the merpeople during the event, her voice full of optimism and resolve. She warned them of the dire repercussions that will occur if they let the eclipse fan the flames of conflict. She underlined how crucial it was to maintain the precarious equilibrium they had struck, and how a united front against the dangers that lurked outside their borders was imperative. Luna and Orion led the clans in a unifying ceremony while the eclipse was passing. In a show of unity, they encouraged all mermaids and mermen to join them as they entwined their tails, symbolizing the union of their clans. The eclipse acted as a backdrop, a warning to them of what would happen if they gave in to their disagreements. A strong sense of unity washed over the merpeople as they took in the celestial display. They were struck by the splendor of the heavens and realized how frail their own planet was. The eclipse served as a sobering reminder that their life depended on collaboration and respect for one another, and it also served as a wake-up call. A deep silence descended upon the assembled merpeople as the eclipse approached its peak. The sun was shining brightly again as the shadows started to fade. It was as though the eclipse presented them with a chance for salvation in addition to endangering their world. Following the eclipse, the mermaid clans were imbued with a renewed resolve and dedication to enduring peace. They promised to respect the oneness they had attained, to settle disputes amicably rather than violently, and to welcome the variety that enhanced their aquatic world. At that moment, the mermaids' path toward reconciliation took a different turn. The approaching eclipse brought home to them how flimsy their newfound peace was. Luna and Orion were on the verge of tragedy, but their unwavering commitment and ability to unite their clans kept them alive and led them on a path toward a time when the eclipse would no longer be a threat but rather a sign of their victory over separation. With an eclipse approaching, the fragile peace between the competing mermaid clans was in danger. With a clear understanding of the disastrous outcomes that could occur, Luna and Orion realized how urgent it was to find a solution to stop the approaching conflict and maintain the tenuous unity they had labored so hard to establish. Determined, Luna and Orion dug into their collective expertise and consulted sage sea creatures endowed with age-old wisdom. They combed through old manuscripts and listened to the murmurs of the water, trying to find a way to save the day and keep the ties between their clans intact. In the course of their investigation, Luna and Orion came onto a lost myth that mentioned a hallowed relic called the Eclipse Stone. The tradition said that this stone could absorb the eclipse's energy and direct it toward harmony and understanding. According to legend, the bearers of the stone had the ability to unite opposing groups and mediate disputes amicably. Hopeful, Luna and Orion set out on a treacherous quest to get the fabled Eclipse Stone. Along the trip, they met fearsome sea animals, waded through choppy currents, and explored dangerous underwater caverns. They understood that their success would determine the fate of their clans, therefore their unrelenting dedication to their mission drove them ahead. Luna and Orion eventually found the secret chamber that held the Eclipse Stone after a number of difficulties and hardships. The room glistened with an unearthly light and was decorated with elaborate woodwork. They could feel the stone's pulsating energy as they got closer, which was evidence of its ancient potency. Luna and Orion held the stone with a great deal of devotion, feeling its cool surface tickle their skin. They were aware of the great responsibility that accompanied possessing such a relic, since their choices would have an impact on their tribe's future. Once they were back in their underwater world, Luna and Orion summoned the two mermaid clans together. They held the Eclipse Stone high above their fellow merpeople, its light illuminating the assembly in a captivating splendor. They discussed the danger they would face if they gave in to strife and division, as well as the chance they had to create a sustainable peace. Luna and Orion encouraged their tribes to put aside their differences and accept understanding and compromise, using the Eclipse Stone as a symbol of hope. They emphasized their common destiny by informing their fellow merfolk of the advancements they had achieved and the ties they had forged. Luna and Orion led the clans in a somber ceremony where they made a unity contract and vowed to preserve the brittle harmony they had managed to build. They called upon the Eclipse Stone's power and directed it toward understanding and peace. The merpeople felt a fresh feeling of purpose and resolve as the stone pulsed with a dazzling light. The fruits of Luna and Orion's labors were visible when the eclipse passed overhead. With a single goal in mind, the mermaid clans realized how crucial it was to hold on to their newly discovered tranquility. They had a candid conversation in which they tried to comprehend each other's viewpoints and identify points of agreement. Gradually, the threat of violence vanished and was replaced by a common resolve to live in harmony. That was a turning point in Luna and Orion's quest to stop the battle from happening. They brought hope to their clans with their unrelenting determination and the finding of the powerful Eclipse Stone. They established their undersea realm on a path towards enduring peace by calling upon the power of the stone and promoting harmony and understanding, making sure that the approaching eclipse would no longer be a threat but rather a driving force for revolutionary change. Following the threat posed by the eclipse, the love between Luna and Orion grew into a force greater than either of their own clans. They inspired hope in the hearts of their fellow merfolk and forced them to put aside their disagreements because of their unshakable loyalty to one another. After seeing how transforming their love could be, Luna and Orion started to promote harmony and understanding. They told their tale, describing the difficulties they had faced and the close bond they had developed in spite of the hostility between their clans. Their persistent faith in a brighter future struck a profound chord with the mermaid community, and their love became a testament to the possibility of peace. As word of Luna and Orion's romance spread throughout the undersea world, the merpeople began to reflect and have debates about it. Members of both clans started to doubt the wisdom of continuing a cycle of animosity and anger as well as the veracity of their long-standing grudges. They recognized a reflection of themselves, a desire for peace, understanding, and companionship in the bond between Luna and Orion. Touched by the force of love, merpeople from both clans began looking for chances to talk and engage. They met in a neutral place and had sincere talks that made it possible for them to see one another as people rather than enemies. As empathy and understanding spread, barriers that had existed for generations started to come down. Encouraged by the outpouring of love, Luna and Orion assumed the roles of peacemakers and envoys. By arranging meetings between representatives of the two clans, they promoted candid and open conversation. Under their leadership, merpeople on both sides acquired the skills necessary to find common ground, listen compassionately, and accept one another's suffering and complaints. Days passed weeks and weeks became months, and the change in the underwater world was apparent. Where there had been divisions, bridges were constructed, and respect for one another took the place of hostility. After years of savage strife, the mermaid clans started to discover opportunities for cooperation. Luna and Orion's love created a ray of hope for both clans through their combined efforts. It acted as a continual reminder that love was capable of overcoming obstacles and mend hurts. A growing number of merpeople accepted that their underwater habitat was a shared place and that in order to preserve it, they had to put aside their differences and live in peace with one another. Luna and Orion, their love pulsating from every molecule of their bodies, stood before their joined tribes in a momentous ceremony. They conveyed their appreciation for the changes they had seen and their hope for a time when peace would rule. They urged the merpeople to commit to a shared destiny characterized by cooperation, understanding, and love, using their relationship as a beacon of hope. The mermaid clans embraced, tears of joy and hope restored, signifying the victory of love over resentment. The sounds of joy filled the undersea world as merpeople from both tribes celebrated their newfound togetherness. The trip of Luna and Orion came to an end at this point, as their love acted as a catalyst for significant transformation. Their unrelenting dedication and ceaseless efforts motivated their clans to move past the limits of enmity and embrace a future based on cooperation and understanding. The merpeople who lived there saw their lives irrevocably changed when a new period of harmony and cooperation bloomed within the undersea realm, thanks to their love. Following the threat posed by the eclipse, both mermaid clans came to a deep revelation. The love that existed between Luna and Orion, a love that knew no bounds, became a strong force that encouraged other merpeople to set aside their differences in favor of harmony and collaboration. Standing before their tribes, Luna and Orion's love shone brightly, guiding the way towards a more promising future. When the mermaid clans saw how strong and deep their link was, they realized that love had the power to heal the deepest wounds and remove the most ingrained animosities. The merpeople were moved by this understanding and put aside their long-standing resentment and biases. They realized that for their survival and prosperity, cooperation and togetherness were not only desirable but also necessary. The once impenetrable walls of division started to come down in favor of a common goal of creating a peaceful undersea world. The merpeople had sincere conversations, listening to one another's viewpoints and stories with a newfound understanding, inspired by Luna and Orion's example. They came to realize that their common experiences much outweighed their differences and that working together would result in a prosperous and peaceful future. The mermaid clans came together to start cooperative projects that would help them all. They combined their resources and expertise, leveraging the distinct advantages of every tribe to take on obstacles that had appeared insurmountable in the past. Once scarce food supplies were now distributed fairly, and the merpeople cooperated to defend their underwater domain from outside invaders. A feeling of oneness seeped into the ocean's depths as the clan's ties grew closer. The merpeople came to understand that sustaining harmony and cooperation was essential to their collective well-being and that their survival depended on one another. Knowing that their fates were inextricably linked, they rejoiced in their mutual accomplishments and helped one another through hard times. Leading the front in this metamorphosis, Luna and Orion never ceased to uplift their fellow merpeople with their unshakable love and dedication to oneness. They acted as peace ambassadors, filling up any gaps that could have existed between the clans and making sure that there was no lingering hostility. Under the impact of love and cooperation, the underwater realm flourished over time. The vivid hues of the mermaid clans blended together to create a tapestry of unity as they flourished. The formerly separated clans now found satisfaction in the wealth and sheer beauty of their surroundings, while the oceans teemed with life. As their love started to act as a catalyst for radical transformation, the merpeople put aside their disagreements and embraced a future based on shared prosperity after realizing the strength of cooperation and harmony. Love overcame all that had separated them, and they worked together to create a peaceful undersea world that would ensure their survival and prosperity for many generations to come. Following the eclipse's danger, Luna and Orion showed themselves to be steadfast symbols of love and compassion, paving the path for mending and a new era of mermaid clan harmony. Motivated by their deep affection for one another and their common dream of a peaceful undersea world, Luna and Orion developed into unwavering supporters of peacemaking. They understood that the days of strife and division were over and that coming to an agreement would be essential to their clan's survival and well-being. Luna and Orion, full of compassion and resolve, reached out to their respective clans, pleading with them to put aside long-standing grudges and biases. They talked about the potential that awaited them if they chose harmony over conflict and the transforming power of love. The merpeople were moved by their comments and began to long for a time when understanding and cooperation would rule. The mermaid clans started to be open to the idea of reunion after being touched by Luna and Orion's undying devotion and the genuineness of their love. They had a deep conversation in which they expressed their hopes, worries, and dreams. Through these discussions, they learned that rather than being insurmountable barriers, their differences presented chances for development and understanding. Luna and Orion acted as intermediaries and envoys, arranging meetings between delegates from the two clans. They fostered a culture of empathy and respect among the merpeople by creating safe venues for candid and open communication. These conversations provided a forum for expressing grievances, owning up to previous transgressions, and finding forgiveness and healing. Days became weeks and weeks became months, and something changed in the undersea world. Bridges of compassion and empathy triumphed over walls of hostility. Once split apart by distrust, the mermaid clans started to recognize the common goals and ideals that united them. There was a historic meeting of the merpeople from both tribes, led by Luna and Orion. Their presence exuded a tangible sense of hope and harmony, and they stood as real examples of the potential for love to transcend boundaries. Luna talked about the strength that comes from accepting difference and the power of forgiveness. Her words were repeated by Orion, who emphasized the value of pursuing a common goal and the well-being of the group. The merpeople hugged one another in a moment of great significance, releasing the bonds of the past and welcoming a future based on harmony and collaboration. As the mermaid clans made a new covenant, promising to help one another, guard their common resources, and preserve the harmony they had established, tears of delight mixed with whispers of reconciliation. The aquatic realm began a new period of unity with the love between Luna and Orion as its beacon. The merpeople rejoiced in their increased unity, realizing that cooperation was essential to their existence and well-being. They put in place governance structures that guaranteed just decisions and resource allocation, encouraging a climate of cooperation and confidence. As a result of Luna and Orion's love, the mermaid clans were able to come together and experience a moment of triumph and metamorphosis. Their steadfast dedication and ceaseless endeavors resulted in a peaceful resolution, setting the groundwork for a future characterized by collaboration, comprehension, and mutual prosperity in the underwater domain.